Hello my creative friend, Olga Sobi here and welcome to new fluid acrylic painting tutorial. Today let's try combining acrylic pouring technique with the mandala art using the stencil texture application. So first I'm gonna do acrylic pouring, let it dry and then embellish the base with the beautiful mandala stencils. I got a couple new ones, so super excited to work with that. Let's see how it turns out, and without further ado, let's get started. Concord is a secret message today. I want to do something similar to one of the paintings that I did in the past. This one right here, the Dancing Suns. That was a huge success for me. So I want to use a different color base. I want to work on a rich royal purple today. And for the flow, gonna be a bit different colors. And for my layout, I also changing things up. I want to have only 3 stencils today. I got a couple new ones, by the way, so it's gonna be fun to try them out. And for my canvas, yes, working on canvas today, not Cradle Wood panel. This size is 20 by 24, so working pretty big. And I have already positioned my stencils on the painting because I always like to plan out my composition first. But for now, I am going to remove them, keeping my hoops in place because I really love the balance that's happening on my canvas right now. And let's start adding in those colors. Actually, you know what? Today I'm gonna remove my rings and I will reposition them once the violet is spread out. You can see that I already painted my sides. I will have a little bit of paint going down the sides, but that will help to prevent any bold spots. Leveling out the paint so there's not too much inside of the rings. Let's put those rings back. I always love looking from above, using my stepladder for that, especially when I'm arranging the composition. Definitely helps to look from the distance and straight at the painting. When doing this, imagine that each ring has a weight and you are arranging this weight on your canvas, and your goal is to try to balance it out. If you balance it, the painting will be more balanced. If you have them really balanced, there is also a technique, a composition technique like that. Your painting will look very dynamic, but I usually strive for balance within the weight of my composition. So this actually looks really good. And let's start layering in those colors. So I do want my base to be very rich and deep and vibrant. So violet will still be the base, of course, but to make it interesting, well, I have prepared quite a few other colors. So some that work amazing with violet. So I have a lighter shade of violet, also some magenta, and I want to add a couple brighter pops of color. This would be copper, this is iridescent and red blue, and this one is opaque color because all of these are very transparent, so I need to add a little opacity and brightness to my base. So this is the opaque, I can't remember the name, I always forget the name of this color, but you can see it right here. Okay, let's put in a little bit of this one. For the color of my mandalas, I want them to be primarily gold. I will definitely add in other colors on top just to make the color a little more deep and not so flat, because the solid color, the single color looks quite solid and flat. So it's gonna be primarily gold, and We'll probably add copper, but because I know I'm gonna have gold here, I want to have a little bit of gold inside of my flow as well. So they echo in each other. And I also feel like I want to add a dash of turquoise color in this color palette. Not everywhere, but maybe just a few spots. It will create nice accents because it's quite a dark, warm color palette. So having this cold color will look very interesting. And this is plenty of color. So let's torch this out. And time to blow it out. So I'm gonna be blowing this out, and I'll try my best not to shift the rings because I want to keep the solid color, solid violet inside of the rings. If they do shift, or if a little bit of paint gets inside, that's okay. It can always be touched up. When the paint is dry, we can always paint over, but you know, trying to get as perfect as possible from the get-go. Let's do this! Oh my goodness, I'm excited to see how these colors turned out. Oh yeah, and for direction, I think I'm gonna work from the center out. Oof, beautiful! Wow, I love these colors. I love these colors. I love the turquoise. It just adds a little bit of this extra oomph to this whole color palette. Oh, perfect. And I'm looking against the light, so I see how beautifully my copper and that iridescent color and a touch of gold shines in the base. You guys gonna be able to see it when the paint is dry. I need to torch this out, and I don't know, maybe I'm gonna do finger swipe as well. Let's see. I love it. So time to remove rings. Let's do this. Actually, I want to spin it first. Ah, yes. Perfect. Are you ready for the final? Which way should I spin it? Definitely this way. The energy, oh, perfect. Love the colors. I know they're gonna dry much darker, all the violets and the metallics and iridescent colors gonna shine much brightly on the darker base. So let's see how it dries. And let's get to the next step. It is dry now, time for the next step. We're gonna apply the mandala stencil texture. It has dried, so fabulous. Actually, let me show you first the dry result. Oh, I got a little bit something from my stencil on here. That's okay. I mean, check this out. The shine, the overall depth of the colors. Don't worry about these couple things. I think I just had something on my stencil, but I love it. It looks so much like magical flames. You guys see the shine? I hope you do. So let me rearrange those stencils and we are gonna get to it. Part of my ring on the bigger one has shifted a little bit, so I had to touch it up with my finger. So right here you see the edge is not smooth and perfect, but I like it. It makes it more alive. I like that the edges are not 100% perfect, so I'm not even gonna fix anything about it. And for my stencil, I'm just gonna try to place it as centered as possible inside of that ring. So these two are done. Oh, actually, hold on, I'm missing one side here. These two are sort of new stencil. I only used them once. I really like the design of these two. For me, they're like a sun and a moon, although this is not going to be the theme of today's painting. You know what? I just realized that my stencil is slightly crooked. So I'm going to lift up the stencil and readjust. And this is why I'm keeping the edges of the tape lifted, so it's easy to pick up the tape. So a little tip for you there. And the third one, so the ring that I had is slightly smaller than the stencil itself. I think it's okay. It will be sticking out a little bit, but I have a lot of darker base around this ring, so I think that will work just fine. Everything ready, stencils are nice and secure on my canvas, and next step I'm gonna apply the gloss gel. I'm just gonna do all three at the same time. So I'm applying some right in the center, and I'm gonna spread it with the painting knife from the center out. Just covering the entire painting with gloss gel, not the painting, the entire stencil. Adding in a pretty thin layer. You can always add more gloss gel as you go, but don't add too much right away because it's much harder to take it off. Okay, the gloss gel is done. Time for the next step. So right after I apply gloss gel, I'm gonna go ahead and apply the paint. I do not let my gloss gel dry. So I see that in my painting I had a very vibrant, beautiful copper. So a lot of the copper shining in the dry result. So I definitely want to go ahead and use the same copper that I used in my base so that my mandalas really match the energy of the painting. And on top of that, I will add some gold. I might add a couple touches of turquoise because I actually really like how the turquoise shines through. So just scooping out some paint right with my palette knife and going over the gel. My gosh, this color is gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful. Keep on going with all three mandalas the exact same way. So first I will do copper, and only after that I will add my colors on top. You need to work rather quickly because acrylics dry pretty fast. You have about 10-15 minutes, of course. So it's more than enough to cover 3-4 stencils. But I wouldn't do more than that because once the gel begins to dry, it's going to be very difficult to remove the stencil and the design just will not be as sharp. I see that I got a little bit of paint outside of my stencil. Try not to do that, but I will show you how to fix that after I remove the stencil. That's not a problem, as long as you catch it while the paint is still wet. Copper, done. Let's add in some gold. I'm using iridescent gold. Absolutely gorgeous. So I think I'll have some gold in the center, some on the edges, and I'm gonna blend it in after. Just adding it right now, approximately where I want it to be. I also want to add a bit of iridescent red. I think it will look nice here. So I'm just gonna squeeze some on the side. And finally the turquoise. I do feel like I want to add a couple turquoise accents. Oh, this is a new jar. There you go. Nice and full. So that maybe here. I'll stop right here. I can always add more. Okay, let's now blend in those colors because it doesn't look overly pretty right now. Last time when I did my stencil, I tried dabbing and I really loved the effect, so I'm gonna do the same thing today. I think it looks kind of funny right now, but you'll see what it's gonna be like when I remove the stencil. But you know what? I feel like before I do that, I want to add some white because the base is super dark and the copper, it's definitely lighter, but it's not that light. So I need to add a couple highlights there. Alright, are you guys ready? Let's remove the stencil and see how it turned out. So I'm keeping the stencil flat while I'm removing the tape, and you see that I got quite a bit of paint escaped from my stencil this time. There we go. Let's do it. See how difficult it is to pick it up? That's because gel began to settle already. Oh, this is gorgeous. I love the texture. The texture is awesome. I like that it's so uneven. Okay, perfect. And I have one more stencil project coming up, so I'm gonna save up all the paint from the stencils and I will reuse it for my next project. You guys stay tuned for that. That one's gonna be even more fun. See a little bit of gel smudged here. I love that wipe, it kind of makes it more interesting. Okay, but let's waste no time. Gel is curing, so... Yes! Oh my god. Okay, with this little boo-boo here, we need to take paper towel and we need to get the water spray, and I don't know where my water spray is, so I'm just gonna get some water and remove it right away. Actually, let me turn it towards me. And see, while it's still fresh, it's actually pretty easy to... Now, grab a brush, and if you have any areas where gel has accidentally sank under the stencil, you can remove it with a brush while it's still wet. So I need to work quickly. I have one area right here and I have one area right here. So this is what I'm gonna be working on. Let me fast forward this for you and jump right to the fully dry and finished result. So keep watching. I mean, I don't know what I like more in this painting, the base or the stencil embellishments. Probably it's a combination of the two, but both of the parts worked out so perfectly. So in my base, and by the way, I have already covered the painting with varnish, so this is why you can see this light uniform gloss sheen on this whole piece. So for my base, this copper shines so brightly. It definitely has the flame kind of energy in it. And I'm so happy that I added the turquoise in a few sections because it definitely brings more interest in life in this color palette. For my mandala art embellishments, I added a little bit of turquoise here and there as well, just as a reflection of what I have in my base, and quite a few highlights. This is the first time I'm adding this type of highlights in the stencil design. I think it works well. Definitely adds a little bit of the depth and dimension because we have some lighter and darker parts in it. So I like it the most this way, but it also works this way and this way. And it also works this way. I mean, when it works, it works. I just love this painting and I don't even know which one do I like the most. This one or the previous one? Tell me what's your favorite, this one, the previous one, and for this painting, how do you like it the most? The vertical, don't pull, or the horizontal layout? Vertical or horizontal? Okay, you got my point. If you haven't tried this technique yet, definitely do it. It's a lot of fun. It brings so much diversity to your acrylic pouring style. And starting next week, I have a lot more really awesome, exciting embellishment styles coming up. So if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Thank you so much for joining me today. Give this tutorial a like if you enjoyed following along, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye!